Okay, we're back. We're about to head into our first dungeon here. Sastasha. I think that's how it's pronounced correctly. Well, whatever you may say about this place, the beginning, at the very least, is beautiful. Nice way to introduce the whole world of dungeon running. And looks like we have a few new timers here. Well, we have at least one. Okay, so the whole idea of this first dungeon is really to teach us how to play nice with other kids. It's how we cooperate, just basically the whole point of Final Fantasy. You have to get along with other players, you all have to work together if you want to get through it. So I think all in all this is a good way to really teach people how to do that. Okay, we have some bats here. Black bats. So far, nothing too exciting, but I think that's the whole point. You should see some of the later dungeons. Now, they're starting to get pretty wild. You find a bloodstained scrap of parchment and a message scrawled upon it in faded ink. The captain likes his wine red. Okay, so that's supposed to be a clue later on. I'll show you exactly what that is for later. But just so you know, it's different every time you run through here, so... We have more bats and a flying jellyfish. Nothing too exciting at this point. At least until we run into the pirates. I've always been under the impression that adding pirates and ninjas to a game just makes it even cooler. And what do you know? We have ninjas and pirates in this game, so that's just a win-win for me. That's all of them. We move on ahead to a couple more jellyfish. Okay. Onwards. Okay, Shade Seekers, sorry. Bunch of Shade Seekers and a giant clam. So when the clam's jaw is closed, you can't kill it. You have to wait till it opens up again. And the longer it stays alive, it's just going to create more Shade Seekers. So right now we're just dealing with a bunch of sea life. Fighting fish that are so raw, they're still looking for Nemo. So nothing here is particularly tough. There's just a lot of it, and they're just kind of a little bit stubborn to take down. There's a problem with being a spellcaster since it takes us a while. Sometimes they take down foes so fast that they take them down before we even get a chance to strike at it. But we're getting there. There's really not much to say at this point. You just kind of run across this little path and kill everything in sight. And... am I missing anything on my hotbar? Doesn't look like it. I don't know why I bothered looking. But like I said, if nothing else, this place, it sure is pretty to look at. Of course, once you run through it like a 100th time, you get kind of sick of it. Or so I've heard. Yeah, some dungeons, hands down, are much better than others. If not design-wise, then just concept-wise. You know what, maybe that's a good idea for a video, to do a top 10 dungeons list here. I'll look into that. So if anyone out there has their own opinion on what makes a good dungeon, just drop off in the description below. Just let me know. But it looks like we're making pretty good timing so far. I think the fastest that anyone can run a dungeon is about 15 minutes. It's a rough guesstimate, I think. Yeah, and so if you see this glowing purplish line here, that's a sign that it's a boss fight, so be prepared for that. And if you remember the piece of paper from earlier, the captain likes his wine red, that meant that he was talking about the red coral formation here. Okay, so he went to go click on that, and now he's going over to the switch, which is going to bring out the boss, which is the chopper. Yeah, so at the beginning of every run through this dungeon, that piece of paper is going to say something different. So it's either going to talk about blue, green, or red. And depending on which color's there, that's the one that the chopper is kind of hiding behind, I suppose. Otherwise, if you just click on any of them, two of them are going to have just random monsters, and you can't move on until you beat the chopper. And a lot of people just don't want to have to deal with fighting more than they have to. They just usually want to speed run through a dungeon. So we brought down the chopper, got some gear, plundered moccasins, and we just click on that switch, and then we're here. The Dead Man's Drunk, I think it's called. And these are where the pirates are. As you can see, we have some scurvy dogs, love the name, and some Serpent Reavers. So I would say that we're almost halfway at this point. I think if we move on just a little bit more. Yeah, these things are kind of annoying. Level up. So I think after you pass through this place, you are officially halfway. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it is. If we're not exactly halfway right now. But that's a kind of a rough time estimate. Okay, so the job here is to take care of the Serpent Reavers and the captain, Captain Mason. So first thing you have to do is take down the Reavers first, and then you can focus your attention on Madison, I think his name is. Terrible with names. Even if they seem easy, I somehow manage to mess them up. I don't know how that is. Spelling was not my best subject. I don't know why. And I love seeing that little parrot there that's squawking. So fighting this guy isn't too tough, and before you even get a chance to beat him, he runs away screaming. Okay, so I think we are officially halfway through, if not a little bit ahead. Okay, so this is kind of like the main hideout for the pirates. There are actually a bunch of different little hidden doors throughout this area. I'm not sure if my teammates here will want to go running through all of that. Which is okay, most people really don't. Okay, we're getting there, just beat this one. Yeah, and there's a bunch of maidens hanging around here. Apparently they were taken hostage, so you just ignore them. And one of these guys here is supposed to drop a key, which you use to get in through that door. Yep, there it is. Captain's quarters key. Yeah, so this is a good way of really getting to know mechanics, like a good introduction. Once we have the key, we come to the captain's quarters, kill these two guards, go in, fight who's in there, and you get another key, which unlocks another door. And if you want a dungeon that has a lot of keys and extra doors, wait till we get to Hawk Manor, and that's going to be interesting to say the least. There we go, we have another Reaver, a big guy. Big muscle man, you know, more bronze than brains. That's a lot how the pirates are in this dungeon. They have more brawn, no brain. Okay, so he drops the Wide River... what was it? Wave Rider Gate key, okay. Which we then use to open up this door. So we're making good progress. Okay, we're about 15 minutes in, so we've already gotten through this part, which is probably the trickiest part anyway. A good rule is that you should always let the tanks go first. That's what they are for. They are basically there to take all of the damage. You run ahead before them, and you could end up getting a whole crowd of monsters attacking you. I've done that plenty of times myself. Okay, so this fight is very similar to the first time we fought the captain here. He has 2 guards, we take those down. It's a little bit tougher than before, especially since he does bring in more adds later. But this is the basic run of a dungeon. You just run through almost like a straight line, almost. And you let the tank go first, they focus all the aggro on them and away from the rest of the party. The DPS here have to focus on all the battle damage, and the healers. Healers focus on healing. That is your primary role. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I once had some jerk telling me off during a dungeon run just because I was doing my job of healing. I mean, we made good time, nobody died, and he was still telling me off despite the fact that he had low gear at the time for not doing DPS. Really? We had just reached the final boss and you are going to be a jerk? I don't get some people sometimes. But that's me ranting and raving. Sorry about that. So we're going to continue fighting Captain Mason here, and like before, he runs away screaming before we even have a chance to bring him down. And we enter the final part. So at this point, we're about 85 to 90% done. Okay, once you reach this area, then you know that you are right next to the boss. Like the final boss of the dungeon. And here, you do kind of have a choice of how many pirates you would like to fight. These guys, you have to fight them. This group that we're fighting right now. But I would say almost half these pirates are optional, so for lower level players who want to earn a little extra experience can fight them as well. If you just stick to the wall on the left side here, you can avoid all those pirates in front of you. That's done. Just dash over here like you're doing. So this is another mandatory group, but the others in that wooden pavilion over there are completely optional if you want them to be. Which I do kind of like. And another thing with these lower level dungeons, you only have a few spells that you can use, like a few tricks that you really can do. The good thing about the higher level ones, you get a lot more cool tricks and tactics to use. Something to look forward to. And this here is the last mandatory group of pirates that you have to fight. Once they're down, you're free to go and face the boss or go kill more pirates. I don't think we need to worry about that though. My team seems pretty interested in just getting through this whole thing quickly enough. And that's cool, that's fine, I have no problem with that. I think the only time I would have a problem with it is if the dungeon is new and I haven't run through it yet. I would want to take my time and really observe everything. But that's just my opinion. Just this one last guy. And there we are. Psh, you sully our spawning ground shorewalker. And this here is really our first look at the Sahagin. Thin the fools, the Lord of the world shall sup on your souls. warning, talking like a Sahagin can be very tiring very quickly. Now this boss fight's pretty easy enough. As you can see, it's surrounded by these unnatural ripples. And normally, when you see them start to bubble, you go over and interact with them, which stops the bubbling. Because if they bubble for too long, then they call in ads. Most people don't really bother with that anymore, because they have gear that's so strong that they don't need to worry about it. That you can just pretty much go straight for the big boss here and just keep on fighting until he's dead. And that's just fine too. But as you can see, the unnatural ripples are starting to bubble, which means that some Sahagin are about to come jumping out. So you're free to interact with them so you don't have to worry about them, or just wait for the ads to pop up. But we have a really good party here. As you can see, we're already down almost all the way. There we go. And they do usually go for the healer, so keep watch on that. There we go. As you can see, it wasn't too hard. Ooh, we got a level up. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was our very first dungeon here. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so we got the Targe and the... what was it? The Acolyte's robe. And I don't really see a difference, so... yeah, I think I'll pass on that. Let someone else have it. And you also get player recommendations. You just recommend who you think offered the most, and we ended up getting one ourselves. That's really nice. So yeah, that was our first dungeon, and a pretty successful run, if I do say so myself. Okay, we're back in Limsa. We'll head back to the main city-state now that that's all over with. So all in all, it was a lot of fun. I do enjoy dungeons. And if you do them enough, it's a really nice way to level up, probably the best way to level up in my opinion, and it does come up with a lot of cool, useful gear. Especially once you unlock the roulettes, and you can do random dungeons and get a bonus, it's a really quick way to level up. So right now we just have to head to Balderon and tell him that the whole mess is over, and he's going to lead the way to the next dungeon for us, which is going to be in Gridania, the Deep Croft. Okay, let's see what he has to say to us now. Aye, such a task was on the books. Was mine. I'm afraid that ship has already sailed, friend. Ah, might you be the adventurer who accepted the job of investigating Sastasha? Yes, I am. It would seem that ship has not only sailed, but now returns to the harbor. None the worse for its voyage. A pity. We dragged our boots too long in this one. No matter. The wheel will turn and our chance will come. You are right, of course, but there shall be no rest till we have attained our goal, lofty though it may be. Not a wink of sleep, great leader. Our aim, least you wonder, is to perform such feats of heroism as will earn us a place in the songs of every alehouse in Eorzea. We mean to write a legend which will inspire adventurers as yet unborn to follow our shining example. Do you chance have such a goal? Large or small, it matters not. Only have a star to reach for, and you will reach higher. purpose can sustain you through times of hardship. Keep your eyes on the prize, and all obstacles will be overcome in time. Words to live by. You would not think to strive into battle unclothed, would you? Well, goals are as arms and armor for the spirit. I wish you fortune in your endeavors, my lady. Thank you. That was awfully nice of him. So nice when you meet nice people. Back then, are ye? With all your limbs and a tale to tell, I wager? Fishbacks? There, I was thinking you only have to crack a pirate skull or three. 7 hells, you turn your back on 5 bloody minutes and the scaly bastards set up shop on your bleeding doorstep. Still, sounds like you left them in pieces, so I don't suppose they'll be carrying out whatever mischief they was planning. Unless they was planning on feeding themselves to the fauna of Sastasha, of course. Any road, all's well that ends well. Thanks for shedding some light on this mystery. I knew you'd get the job done last, you always do. Now, I bet you're dying for a rest, but just in case you're not, I was wondering if you might be interested in taking on another job. Just so happens I've had a request from our sister guild in Gridania, see? Seems the forest folk are in need of adventure where they can get jobs done. For them to ask for help like this, you can bet the task won't be no skip through the sunny glade. But after the way you dealt with our fishback infestation, I doubt it's anything you can't handle. I'm not sure if anything I said made sense. Give us a shout when you're ready and I'll lay it out for you. Okay, it's probably pirates is done. Ooh, that's a relief. Party finder unlocked. Okay, so that's to help you find a party. You don't have to use the duty finder and wait for maybe not as long. But that's going to be it for now. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.